Well, this week on Dateline Schools, we've been talking about school attendance as this was count week here in the state of Michigan. But not only is it important on count day, but it's important to make sure our kids are in class each and every day. So this week, we've had the privilege of talking with Hedy Chang. She's the executive director of Attendance Works and focusing on stemming the tide of chronic absenteeism across the country. So Hedy, we've talked about the schools, what the community needs to do. What do parents need to be doing? What is their role in making sure they get their kids to school each and every day?
Thanks, Terry. Parents clearly play a critical role. I'm a mom myself, so I know raising kids isn't easy, and yet we also know what we do as parents is essential. The first set of things we can do is make sure that school attendance is understood as a priority. We talk to our kids about our hopes, our dreams for their future, and we talk about how going to school every day is going to get them there. We help our kids maintain daily routines. Finishing homework, getting a good night's sleep, not staying up all night. We make sure that we don't schedule health appointments, whether dental or other things, or with the pediatrician during the school day, but after school hours. We make sure that when our kids have to stay home because they're sick, and that is happening, unfortunately, with all the challenges with COVID, we make sure that we are getting access to resources and materials so they can learn and make up for the missed learning time in the classroom. But I also think it's essential that we find ways to keep our kids engaged. We want to make sure that kids are enjoying school, that they feel classes are relevant and of interest. We want to make sure that if kids are expressing fears about bullies, that we're addressing that. We're making sure that we're talking with our teachers about our kids' academic progress, and if they've missed school, how can we help keep them on track? Because sometimes when kids aren't feeling successful in school, that actually causes them to not show up. We also want to, make sure that they're connected to peers who they enjoy seeing. There's a lot we can do. The other thing I want to say is that as parents, we should also recognize that this is something that we don't always do alone, that when we are having partners and allies in doing this. So one of the things we do is we suggest that parents fill out a help bank. Come up with your backup plans for what are you going to do when you can't get your kids to school? How are you going to, who can you call for help? Who can be your occasional backup? So that when your car breaks down, I remember I had this and my car broke down and I had to call the kids in my kids' soccer team so that they could show up and pick my kid up and still get them to school, even though I wasn't getting to school that day. We should also think about for older kids, like a lot of times we depend on our older kids to get our younger kids to school. And if challenges come up there, then the older kids don't get to school themselves. We also really want to take a community approach. Folks can organize walking school buses. I know I was working in a public housing project in San Francisco where there was a lot of challenges. We were talking about the consequences of absences, and community leaders in that housing project started organizing their own walking school bus so they could help their kids get safely to school.
For Dateline Schools, I'm Terry Harrington. Dateline Schools is a production of Syncful.